Hi there, and welcome to the Study and Learning Centre's workshop for HDR research candidates on presenting your research. I'm Dr. Jen Anderson. Over the course of your Master's or PhD candidature, you'll have many opportunities to present your research in formal and informal settings, and we hope you'll take as many of these opportunities as you can. So this workshop is designed to give you some of the skills necessary to get started. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld might be joking about the fear of public speaking, but we know that for many people, presenting in public is terrifying. It's possible, however, to manage your fears and offer others the wealth of knowledge you accumulate through your engagement in research. First of all, let's consider what good presenters do. They've considered the audience and the occasion that's brought everyone together, and they've created a presentation that targets that audience. They offer deep knowledge of the topic using a logical, coherent structure. And they've selected key points, and they'll use clear speech to explain each point. Effective body language and informative visual aids will add to the power and clarity of the message. There are 5 key steps to an effective research presentation: establishing the context, writing the script, rehearsing it, delivering it as a performance, and reflecting on the process for research development and for future performances. In this workshop, we're going to explore the first 2 steps: establishing presentation context and writing the script. When we speak of understanding the context, think SPAM: situation, purpose, audience, and method. The situation includes a number of things. The occasion: is it a conference, a seminar, a milestone review? The venue: is it a classroom, a lecture hall, or even a lobby or corridor where you deliver a poster presentation? And the likely numbers in the audience, from 1,000 to 1, and the time limit, 3 minutes to 20 minutes. What's the purpose of your presentation? Are you seeking to persuade, to inform, to justify, or to problematize your research? This is an important question. We often feel as researchers that we need to justify what we do and persuade others that we're capable of performing the tasks. But often it's just as interesting to wonder out loud what we're doing and why and how in relation to what others have done before us. Next, what do you know about your audience? What's their prior knowledge? For example, is it a symposium with a select invitation list, which means that the audience are deeply knowledgeable in a specific area? Or is it a world conference, which is likely to have a wide range of topics and audience members and presenters? And they'll come from many different disciplines and backgrounds. How will you cater for them? And finally, you need to consider how you'll present the information. And this will depend on your audience and your topic. For example, if your topic's concerned with audience engagement, you'll probably plan for audience participation. But if you're presenting research methods and findings, then you're likely to have a PowerPoint presentation or a poster containing visual representations such as graphs and images. The next 3 slides give some examples of situation, purpose, and audience. It makes clear the differences between an international and a graduate conference and the differences for each PhD milestone review. For a conference, whether international or graduate, you need to identify key information such as the conference theme and work out how your presentation will fit in with the theme. You also need to work out whether the organisers want you to stick very close to this theme or whether they're happy for a much looser connection. Then you need to establish reasons for speaking. Perhaps you want to present on your research findings, or maybe you want to debate concepts or ideas. You may want to propose and justify alternative methods or solutions, or perhaps demonstrate a link between theory and practice. Your audience may range from advanced scholars and researchers with decades of experience to beginning academic and applied researchers and writers, so expect a range of questions. The audience may not know very much about your work. Check the occasion and the focus of the theme, and remember, the number of people in the room may change the way you present. But whatever the number, single audience member must be treated with the same respectful commitment as a larger audience. In your PhD milestone, you're likely to present your research questions and how you've arrived at them. That is, you'll give an overview of the literature in the field and how it relates to your intended research. A panel of high-level academics in related fields will read your review paper or research proposal and listen to your presentation. They'll ask questions and offer advice about research direction and process, and you'll be ready to answer those questions, take notes, and acknowledge the advice. In the second milestone, which is often called the mid-candidature review, you're likely to present your progress to date. You may have some data to present along with an analysis. If you have a theoretical framework, you're likely to be able to present this with clear examples from your research. You'll also present issues arising as a result of the research you've done to date. The panel of high-level academics will ask you questions in order to assess your ability to manage the research process and offer guidance for the next stage of the research. You'll take notes and be ready to answer any questions. And other audience members may also ask questions and offer feedback, so be ready to interact with them. In the final milestone, you'll present your research findings and implications, or in the case of a creative writing dissertation, for example, you may be asked to submit the final chapter. You'll convince the panel that you're on track and getting ready for submission. The panel will ask you questions and offer advice regarding final preparations. They may, in fact, suggest that you spend much longer than you'd envisaged on a rewrite. Other audience members may also contribute. There are many other types of presentation, so consider the occasion carefully as part of your planning. Step 2 of the presentation process is writing the script. Remember, because you're speaking and the audience is listening in real time with no breaks, you need to repeat key information to consolidate audience comprehension. So in the introduction, you tell them what you're going to say. In the body, you say it. And in the conclusion, you tell them what you said. And when we say repetition, we mean repeating key words and points, but making sure that we're not boring. You can open your introduction with a magnet. That's something that will attract audience attention. Be careful, however. Telling a joke may not be the best way in a diverse audience unless the joke is directed at the theme in a clever, non-abusive way. Watch some of the 3-minute thesis competition videos on YouTube and take note of the clever magnet openers. In the introduction, you introduce yourself and your topic and outline what you intend to say. As with a written article, you set the scene or the background to the topic first and then become more detailed as you focus on the content of your talk. Sometimes the time limit will determine how long you spend on the introduction, but remember, the audience needs to be primed to concentrate on your particular topic. In the body, you'll give a few main points with clear examples and evidence. You'll show the relationship between these points. The number of points you can cover depends on the length of the presentation. If you're presenting for only 10 minutes, you may only be talking to 2 or 3 points. In the conclusion, you'll restate your presentation aims, sum up what you said, say why the topic is important, and list future implications for the field, the industry, or the community. And you may want to finish on an inspirational note. Is there a way of linking the final thought to the opening magnet? Is there a special takeaway message you can offer that the audience will find valuable? Sometimes a well-framed question that does not have an immediate answer is an effective way of giving the audience food for thought. Now, even though we present in order from magnet to inspiration, we usually start writing the body first, based on the abstract and the knowledge of our research. And then we put together the introduction and the conclusion. And as we put the script together, we consider how we can open and close our presentation. Now, sometimes at conferences, when we attend other presentations, we suddenly get a really great idea for a magnet opener or an inspirational closer. Something that actually builds on the conference theme. So if you've created a sort of a magnet and an inspiration, you might find that you dump those and you go with ones that you create at the conference. Now, as you write, you may notice that you're shifting away from your abstract. And so the content's slightly different to what you said you were going to say. Now, in some disciplines, this is acceptable, but in others, it may not be. So check with your supervisors and check with the conference organisers. It's important to remember, we can't emphasise this enough, that speaking isn't writing. Your audience is listening to you in real time. They can't take in as much as they could if they were reading. So be sure to develop a clear argument or tell a research story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Make sure you use signal words in your script to mark direction in your presentation. For example, there are 3 main findings I want to present today. First, second. Now the third and perhaps most important finding is these signal words really help the audience stay focused and know the direction of your talk. Why don't you give your script to a critical friend to read? Can they follow your presentation story? Do they find it too complicated? You may need to reduce the number of points and explain the ideas more succinctly. You may need to consider handouts. The next workshop will look at steps 3 to 5. Rehearse, deliver, and respond to feedback. Tell us your presentation stories or any handy hints you might have. Post them in the discussion forum. Cheers.